This is a very spontaneous video. I did not plan anything. I've been thinking about doing this for a while. I was just afraid of doing it. This is not my first attempt at a YouTube video. I've been watching YouTube videos for a long time now, and YouTube really helped me at times when I was in a really dark place. And I think it's important for me to document my experience, to document what I'm going through, my recovery. This is really difficult for me because I know I'm gonna hate looking at myself when I edit this video, but I shouldn't, but I still do. Today is the 24th of September 2020. I am currently in Etania, which is a small village in the country of Switzerland, and it is 3 p.m. and my name is Pauline. I'm originally from France, and I'm back. I've just spent 3 years living in London, in the UK, with my partner Vincent and our 2 cats, and it's been a little tough during the pandemic, which is probably the case of everyone else around the globe, but let's say it's made things, it's amplified things in a way, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because it was really uncomfortable, but it's a good thing because it's pushed me to seek help and get better. I am a survivor of what you could call child abuse, childhood trauma. I suffer from post-traumatic stress and depression, and it's been going on for God knows how long, pretty much since I was a kid. And I'm seeing a therapist, a really great therapist. I'm really grateful for her. But I just wanted to film the process, film what it's like recovering from something like this, because I think there's a lot of misinformation, misunderstandings around this topic, and there's a lot of things that people don't know, and a lot of things that I didn't know until very recently, and I think a lot of people could benefit from something like this. So that's what I'm going to try to do, and I'm hoping that it will both help others and be therapeutic in a way for me. Today is tough. There are definitely ups and downs in every, in any recovery of any kind that relates to mental health, but some days are definitely easier than others. And some days it's really easy to take care of myself and feel confident and to love myself, and some days it's really difficult, like today. It's really difficult to love oneself sometimes. I'm trying to remember that things are okay, and all things end, and all emotions end, and it always gets better at some point, and it's a long process, and it's normal to feel these things. It wouldn't make sense if it was easy peasy and everything was perfect and everything was going as planned, and if it was quick and easy, it wouldn't make sense. Because when you've lived the first 20 years of your life imprisoned in a symbolical way by the people who are supposed to protect you and educate you and make you feel good about yourself, when you've been manipulated and lied to by toxic parents for 20 years, it's a very perverse thing, and it's a very taboo thing that not enough people talk about. We talk a lot about, toxic partners and what it's like being in a relationship with a narcissistic person, and how dangerous it is and how toxic it is, but people don't often talk about what it's like growing up with toxic parents. And it's just as bad, if not worse, because it affects everything about who you are as a person. It affects everything in your life, because it happens at a time when you're growing up, you're becoming yourself, you're finding your confidence, you're finding yourself, your identity, and it's just making it impossible to do all these things. It's like you're growing up with people who are empty shells, and who are trying to suck your energy and fill their shell with your energy. I don't know if that image makes sense, but it's kind of like, I view it kind of like a vampire, because I'm really into fantasy stuff, but it's like an energy vampire, if that makes sense. So imagine living with people like that for 20 years, people who constantly make you feel like you're worthless, people who insult you, lie to you, manipulate you, who blackmail you, who keep you away from other people. And it sounds, from the outside, sounds horrible when you say it like this. And it sounds like, well, why didn't you do anything about it? Because it's impossible when you're a kid and this is the only thing you know. And we believe growing up that what we were experiencing as kids is normal. For a long time, I believed my parents were normal. I believed my experience was normal. I believed I was a problem, because that's what they want you to believe. So imagine growing up in that environment. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm not going to start to explain everything in this video, because it could last for literally hours. But just imagine living in that environment for 20 years and then finally freeing yourself and still having this, I don't know how I could describe this really, really heavy thing that you're carrying around everywhere with you. And that's just all the negative emotions associated with growing up with toxic parents. That's what I'm dealing with. Like, that's what a lot of people are dealing with. A lot of people who grew up with toxic parents. I think it's taboo because we have this image of parenthood being this sacred thing, and like being a parent is tough, and it is, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying being a parent is easy, but people often have this idea that being a parent is hard enough, and it's so hard that it justifies everything. But it does not justify abuse, and it's not always the child's fault. I think it's very easy to spot toxic parents and blame them when you spot it early, when the child is still a child and the parent is physically violent. In these scenarios, it's easy to spot because you can see it with your eyes, and it's very easy to feel pity for a child and feel like, you know it's not their fault. But once that child grows up, if they weren't lucky enough to get help as children, and now as adults they can't live a normal life because of it, because of what they experienced, people don't have pity for them or don't feel bad for them. It's their fault. They're ungrateful children, which I don't really understand. What's the difference between the child who was abused and saved versus the child who was abused and not saved and then grew up and is still suffering? Why would it be suddenly his fault? I think that's a big problem. And it makes it even more difficult sharing it with the world, sharing it with your friends and family, because there's a lot of judgment. People don't understand. I can't blame them. It's really hard to understand from the outside. But it makes it really tough to share your experience with people. You know, you hear things like, oh, it wasn't that bad, you're exaggerating. You know, every parent makes mistakes, which that's not relevant to this topic. Toxic parents aren't parents who make mistakes. Parents who make mistakes are normal parents, healthy parents. Toxic parents don't just make mistakes. Mistakes are okay. Mistakes are fine. Children can understand when their parents make mistakes. I'm talking about parents who don't love their children and make them feel worthless and hurt them physically or emotionally. That's what a toxic parent is. And that's bad. And it's not exaggerating, it's not being ungrateful. It's acknowledging that you've suffered. I've suffered. Just got interrupted there. I'm aware that this video is all over the place. I did not plan this. I did not script anything, write anything, prepare anything. I just felt the need to put my phone down, press record, and just talk. I feel like this is bigger than me. I feel like I need to share it for myself and others. And I'm really, I wouldn't say excited, because it wouldn't be appropriate or accurate, but I feel like this is the right thing to do, to document this process and everything and anything around it. So I will film videos about childhood trauma, my experience, what it's like recovering from it, the struggles, but also the positive aspects, and maybe a little bit of vlogging along the way, because I'm also a postgraduate student in creative writing, and I'll talk about what it's like being a postgraduate student while having mental health issues and the struggles of it, everything, living in Switzerland and then traveling later on, because that's a project, a dream that we have, my partner and I, to travel throughout Europe in the weeks, months to come. So this will be an interesting journey, I hope. I know this isn't very joyful, but not everything in life is joyful, and there is pain, and there are some difficult things to talk about. That's just how it is. So this is what I wanted to say, and I'll get better at setting everything up, and the lighting, and the background around and whatever. This was just a very quick video I wanted to make. And I don't know how to end this, so thank you for listening, and I'll be back soon, hopefully. Bye.